All right, man. Welcome to the What, Why, and How Can I podcast. You're the very first guest. I'm honored to have you here. We actually went to high school together.
Yes, we did.
Which is pretty cool.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, dude. I know you're a happy guy that loves to talk, so I thought we could start out on a positive note, some good vibes. So first question is a celebrity or thought leader? What would you rather be?
Okay. Rather be. I'd probably say thought leader. Celebrity, if we're talking like movie stars, singers, it doesn't really intrigue me. All the paparazzi, the success maybe, yeah, but I feel like you can be successful and without the fame and the glory, and just be successful as just an independent person. Thought leader. That's actually a good way to put it.
Any thought leaders that maybe you have in mind, or that you like to listen to, or that affected you, maybe, up to date?
Thought leaders. That's a good question. I mean, I feel like there's a lot out there, just from work, just some of the partners, some of the managers, senior managers from where I work, and then just listening to podcasts. I try to stay up to date on finance and investing, so just listening to some of those podcast hosts who kind of know what they're talking about and go into finance and stocks and all that. It's pretty interesting.
So you said finance and investing. Honestly, growing up together when we were in high school, we'd never really talked about investments, money. You were always jogging, doing cross country stuff.
Yeah, cross country.
What got you interested in finance?
My dad, pretty much an entrepreneur, came here from the Ukraine, started from scratch, built a business pretty much literally from nothing. I would consider him very successful, and I think just seeing him, the hard work, the effort that he put into it, and now that that's all paying off, I was really into finance, into business, and I kind of knew right out the bat that I'd probably get a degree in some form of business, some track of business, and in finance. I was really
so we're gonna jump ahead a little bit. Go into the what. So what exactly do you do at the moment? Just a little details, I guess, about what you do and maybe the different dynamics of your everyday job.
Yeah. So I am currently an auditor for a public accounting firm.
Okay, define auditor.
Auditor. So what an auditor does is, we're not with the IRS. It's an independent party. So a company would hire us, or the firm, to come in and to audit their books. So we would look at their financial statements. We prep and also express an opinion on their financial statements. So their assets, their liabilities, their equity, their revenue, right, their profit and loss, their income statement. So we would come in and we would analyze all that information, and then at the end of the audit, if the partner and the team and the firm is satisfied and thinks that there's no misstatements or material misstatements, we would be able to provide an opinion to the company on what the company does with that opinion. They would go to the bank, and the bank requires these financial statements, but they must be audited, because how does the bank know that the company didn't just write any number on the financial statement? So that's where we come in, we audit it, they take it, they give it to the bank loans them money.
So that was going to be my next question is, why is this necessary to a business? So obviously, one, they want to have a good report to go to the bank and get a loan for future projects or whatever, right?
Exactly.
So who else would be interested, in your opinion?
So shareholders. So let's say it's a startup company, or it's a business that you're invested in. You're not if you're not involved in the day-to-day works, if you're not a manager, if you're not the CEO, you're an investor and you invested $500,000 in a company, you want to trust that the numbers on that financial statement that you get on a quarterly basis are at least materially legitimate. The only way you could do that is if you get a CPA firm to come in to audit it and provide their opinion and their financial statement on that company. So shareholders, board members, investors, banks primarily, and then of course if you're a publicly traded company, so if you're on the stock market, if I can buy a portion of the company, right? We're talking Apple, Tesla, Amazon, any of those big corporations.
Mm-hmm.
So the SEC and the PCAOB, which are government agencies, they require those companies to have audited financial statements that will go out to the public. So before they release the information, it must be audited.
Okay, let me interrupt you real quick. So today we live in this world of social media, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of people make their, I guess, financial judgments, if you will. I know every time Elon Musk tweets something, they're like, "Oh, this means we're investing, or this means we're selling."
And the stock can go.
Why is your report more reliable than those types of things?
Well, I mean, we're not going off of hearsay. So an auditor must be independent. That's a good question. So in order for me to audit, let's say even Apple, I cannot own a material amount of shares. I cannot know anyone who's in management. I cannot have my wife work there. You have to be an independent party. And what that pretty much means is I am not persuaded or I am not influenced to make the company look better than maybe it actually is. So the difference pretty much is...
There's no lobbyists.
Yeah, exactly. No one's giving me $50 or thousands of dollars to make sure that their income is better than what the market thought it was or it's going to be. That would be definitely illegal.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so that's more of a what you do. Okay, what kind of markets are you auditing? Are you auditing, like, say, Hollywood style? Are you auditing construction? Are you auditing the medical? Are you auditing insurance companies? Is there certain industries that that you audit? Certain industries maybe that you like better than others?
Okay, that's a good question. So I was the beauty of the company that I worked for. They audit a lot of different industries, specifically in Sacramento. So I touched on construction, I touched on tech, I touched on banking. One of my banks is a publicly traded company, so I got experience in that. I also do M&D, manufacturing and development, some tech, pretty much a variety of different industries. So not everyone's blessed to have that. It kind of depends where they put you and if you like it or not. Some folks just focus on healthcare, some just banking, some just construction. But I kind of had a nice kind of overview of a lot of different industries. I can't say which one is my favorite. I like majority of them, pretty much all of them. All my clients are really good. They're clean, they're responsive. I enjoy working with them specifically.
I would say there's a lot of industries in California. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think maybe some of the biggest is tech and agriculture. Yeah. Do you guys do anything with that? Because when I think about those companies, tech everybody knows about and everybody hears about on a daily basis, news cycles and all this stuff. Agriculture, nobody thinks about at all. So like, what is there to audit? In an so like if somebody in school trying to become an auditor and they're stuck with an agriculture firm, maybe they just agriculture. They never even imagine that this is something that needs to be audited.
Yeah, no, agriculture. I have an ag client. I've had multiple before, but now I have one big one. The ag is handled very differently and without going into very much detail. So unlike a regular business where there's the CEO, the owner, and then maybe investors, how ag works is if it's a co-op, so if it's a cooperative, so the company is pretty much owned by farmers and the growers. So depending on how much fruit or vegetables or whatever you grow, rice, how much you bring in, that portion you're gonna earn. So it's actually very different. It's not as cookie cutter, but it's very interesting, and pretty much just how the agriculture industry and the finance and the business model behind it works. It's very different. Every industry has its own, different ways of doing business.
So maybe somebody listening to us or watching us is thinking to go into the financial world. obviously there you could be a banker, you can be an investment, you can work in investment, you can be a financial officer. There's different types of things you could be in the financial world.
Mm-hmm.
Why auditor? Why or what types of different auditors are there? Like if somebody wants to become an auditor, do they have a choice of what type of auditor they can be?
Yeah, so just from my background, I started my university to get my degree in finance because I liked and enjoyed finance. And then as I kind of went through it, I realized if you're in finance, you can either right out of college you'll be either an underwriter for insurance, you'll try to be a financial advisor, which you have to build your book of business, and nobody's really going to pay you a salary, so it's going to be a little more difficult. Or you could be a banker, so you'll go work at a bank. Or yeah, I mean, there's very few or go on Wall Street and really try to make a big in investments. There's very few options in a way right out of college. So I kind of joined the accounting route. So I double majored. I did accounting and finance. Accounting is much easier to get a job. I got a job a semester before I graduated. I had 3 offers. But as long as you kind of know where you want to be, where you want to end up. But as far as auditors, so in accounting, there's either tax or auditing, right? There's not much in between. If you think of an accountant, you're like, oh, you must do taxes. Well, a lot of people don't know the other side, which is what I do, which is the auditing. Why I chose auditing over tax? I enjoy tax. I do my own taxes. I don't, think it's bad.
TurboTax.
Yeah, TurboTax, exactly. TurboTax sponsors this message. No, but the only reason I did audit was I'm also an outgoing person, and I really like to. I like the fact that when you come into an audit, you audit that company for 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, and then you don't necessarily see these people until next year. So in tax, if you're stuck sitting next to someone and you really dislike them, you're stuck sitting in that office. In audit, you work with a team of 4, 5, maybe 6 individuals. After that audit is done, you move on. You're working with someone else. You're working with another coworker. Not only that, you go to a new office, a new client. The atmosphere is different. The people are different.
So it's a little more traveling?
Yeah, it's a little more traveling, but it's also a little more exciting because you get to embark on new adventures because there's different location, just different atmospheres, different client, right? Even different industries. So you might be in a bank, and then you can see how ag is different. You come into an ag, and it's like all old school. You go to like some fancy bank, and it's like all nice. So you see the differences, but it's also just nice because audit, the main difference that I think with audit is you will probably, I don't know any other career that you will be able to sit down like me and you next. So I had the opportunity to sit next to a CFO, CEO, CIO, pretty much the chief suite, right? The C-suite, the top dogs in the company. There's no other job that right out of college, you get to sit with them and you get to talk to them and ask them specific questions and just see how the company's going. I've talked to folks that are making millions of dollars that you would not get the opportunity to talk to unless you're an auditor.
So you're this guy, and now I don't know how much auditors get paid, but you're auditing multimillionaires.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Counting their money.
Yeah. So these banks or even big companies, corporations that make multi-millions of dollars, you get to talk to the owners that run the show, or the owner who it was passed down to if it was a family business. You get to talk to them. You get to see how they did it, how they, what their story is, and they're intrigued and they talk about it too. It's just very interesting.
That's cool.
It's really cool to have the opportunity to do that. I don't know what other job would let you do that.
That's awesome. So say someone becomes an auditor, is there room to grow? Can you make a career out of this, or are you an auditor and you're always traveling? What are the like the auditing office or the company you work for? Yeah. What are the different types of, I guess, paths you can move up in the chain, or?
Yeah. So an auditor, the beauty of an auditor is we learn all kinds of different businesses, right? So I go into an ag client, I learn. As you grow, you become a staff and then a senior and then a manager. So as a manager, as a senior, you know how that business operates, how they make money, where's their biggest risk, where's the biggest cash, sucker, pretty much. What takes the most cash for them? Is it inventory? Is it their marketing? Is it their products?
What's costing the most money?
Exactly. So you understand how the business works. You go from one client to another. You go to a bank. They don't make money selling stuff. They make money off interest, right? You go to an ag. They make money off selling their produce. Big difference. But as an auditor, you learn the big picture, especially as you move up in the firm. So you can obviously progress in this CPA firm. You could become a manager, senior manager, and then in 10 years total, time frame, you could become a partner, 10 to 12, let's say. And when you're a partner, you build your book of business. You're a partner of the firm. You get paid. I mean, in our firm, I think it's starting at like $250,000 and up, depending on how many clients you have.
So this is 10 years into your career?
Yeah, about 10 to 12, let's say, depending on how well you excel and how, just kind of like your path, how well driven you are. So you can do that. If you don't like that, because it is a lot of work, public accounting is known for a lot of work, late hours, you can pretty much anytime jump out of public accounting and become either a controller, work your way up to a CFO, or even a business owner, whichever one intrigues you. So what a lot of auditors do, and you'll see it in big companies or, is they're ex-public accountants, right?
Okay.
So they're ex-auditors. So a CFO of a big company, most of the time they've worked for either a Big Four or a public accounting firm when they just started their career.
So auditing gives you this broad experience of business.
Yeah, just so much knowledge that you get. Because think about it. If I'm an accountant and I go work, I get a job as an AP clerk.
Yeah.
What do you learn? You learn AP, accounts payable. Okay, I get the bill. I have to pay it. That's it. I don't know where the money's going. How does this business make money? Where does, how much do they pay for payroll? As an auditor, I come in and you may be the AP clerk, but I know everything about the business. So the amount of knowledge that I have compared to how much you have just sitting there and doing AP and billing people is crazy.
No disrespect to the AP.
No, absolutely.
No disrespect to the AP.
You're an AP clerk. Keep doing your thing. You got it. You'll be up there in no time.
Yeah. So you mentioned auditing is known for a lot of work, long hours. What is a typical schedule like? Is it the same year round? Does it change?
No, definitely. It absolutely changes. So just like tax season, we also have our audit season, which is a busy season, which is from January through end of March, depending on your client, probably end of April or beginning to mid-May, depending on your client. So banks, construction, sometimes agriculture, depending on where their year ends, right? So some companies end their year June 30th, some end at 12/31.
Okay.
So it just depends. But at those times, busy seasons, I think they require us 60 hours or so a week, which is not that bad. I mean,
plus the drive.
Yeah, the drive. And then the beauty of our job is we can work remote, right? So I can work at home. So what I like to do is during busy season, I'd go to work my 8 or 9 hours at the client or at the office. Then I go home, have dinner, hang out with my family, put the kids to bed, and then I crack open my laptop and work for another 2-3 hours.
Okay.
So I have that flexibility. I can work from home at times. A lot of the times I work from home. I don't have to travel anywhere and not sitting through traffic. So there's a lot of flexibility. It just kind of depends where you are and where your client is.
Cool. That's pretty cool. I've noticed actually, I feel like these past few years, or maybe that's just because I've been exposed more, but I feel like working remotely or working from home is becoming much more popular and much more desirable for the employees.
Absolutely, yeah. Nobody wants to sit through traffic for 30, 40 minutes. I'd rather try to do it in the room over there.
Exactly.
Be just as productive.
So, how you said finance, you were interested in finance, your father is a business owner. How did you end up becoming an auditor? Somebody shared this with you. You read it somewhere. It's kind of like, how'd you hear about us?
Right. Yeah. So through college, I got involved in different accounting clubs that help you learn about the career, learn about the industry, that help you get jobs after. So I got plugged into there. I tried to learn as much as I can. Firms would come out and have little discussions with us, let us know the the difference between the two, kind of like what you would be doing, what their firm does. And so just going through is very, very important to do that, especially as an accountant, or if you're majoring in accounting and you want to be in a public accountant, career. You must join these clubs, these beta alpha psi, these associations, in order to get the pretty much insider scoop. And so then you talk to the folks that do work there right now, because they come and they present, and you just kind of figure out, okay, do I want to do tax? It sounds like that's fun too, but I feel like my personality and I would enjoy auditing a little bit more. So I felt like auditing would be a little bit more interesting to me, and I like it so far. I think it's definitely been a good option.
Do you have to go to some crazy finance school to become an auditor? How many thousands of dollars of loans did you have when you finished school?
No, it's nothing crazy. I did Sierra College for 2 years, got my GE down, general education. Then transferred that to Sac State, and then 2.5 or so years. So the reason it takes longer is some people don't know, but in order to become a CPA, which is a certified public accountant, you need to have 150 credits, so 150 units. So a regular accounting degree, you need 120. So in order, if you want, you can pursue your master's, which will get you that 150. What I did, I double majored accounting and finance, and that got me to 150. So it takes you a little bit longer. So I think I was in school for a total of 5 years. But no, I don't think it's not rocket science. You learn a lot of it on the job. I think just get your schooling out of the way, learn as much as you can, but a lot of it will be.
So that's actually pretty cool that you can go to a community college, transfer to a university, not spend too much money, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then potentially in 10 years you could be making $250,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like my goal. Of course, college is expensive and it's getting more expensive.
Yeah.
But I think the goal of everyone should be is, pay as little as possible and invest in, I don't want to say low invest. That doesn't even make any sense. But invest, but have a high return, a high yield on your investment. And this almost feels like it makes sense, which is pretty cool. So when you graduated, were you a CPA all of a sudden? I know some like lawyers, nurses, you got to go get a license. Is there something like that as well?
Yeah, there is. So similar to a JD degree, which is just a doctorate, which is a law degree. So you need your 150 in order to go through and be certified. So you have to pass. You have to get a degree. They won't let you sit for the exam unless you get a degree. They won't give you the certificate unless you get the 150 units in specific classes, of course. And then you have to pass 5 exams.
Not like wood shop and weight training.
No, no. There'd have to be more accounting and finance classes. But then you have to sit down and take 5 very difficult exams. 4 of them are not in class, but actual in person, where you go to the testing center, you sit down in front of a computer. They do a metal detector on you, so you're not cheating. You do a fingerprint thing that you're not your twin and someone else is taking it for you. So 4 of the exams are very, very difficult. Talk to a CPA and ask him how it was if you don't believe me. And then the last one is online. It's an ethics class. It's an ethics exam. So pretty much for that one, you can. It's pretty much it's online, so it's not as difficult, but it's still a little bit challenging because the way that these tests are kind of framed and created. They're very tricky, and if you don't know your information, your stuff, it's very hard to pass.
So a lot of studying.
Yeah. So
for the test, do you have to study for the test, or does your school kind of prepare you for that?
I mean, your school prepares you. They prepare you. Of course, the knowledge that you learn there is useful for both your work and these exams. But you still have to study. I mean, I worked as a public accountant. I would work from 8 to 5, and then from 5 to 8, 5 to 9, I'll be studying every day for these exams. And it took me a little over a year and maybe 2 months or so, a little less than a year and a half.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So somebody watching us, listening to us, is thinking to go into the auditing world, accounting, finance. What's a good start? I mean, maybe somebody's out there's like, dude, I'm in algebra 2. I suck at math. I'm never gonna make it in accounting or finance.
No,
You know?
yeah. So again, we live in a time where we're not crunching numbers in our heads. It's all Excel. It's all specific programs and softwares. So you don't necessarily have to be a math genius to be an auditor. But it is good to like numbers. Some folks like medicine. Some folks, like construction. Some like numbers. So it just depends. Lawyers like words and essays. So you have to, of course, like it or enjoy it. But it's not rocket
all about
science.
numbers.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's actually, a lot of it is communication skills. And if you go through college and you get a professional career, you understand that very quickly. Like our firm, I'm pretty sure they'd rather hire someone who can hold a conversation like this, rather than someone who got a 4.0 in college.
That's where you got the job.
But right, I didn't have a 4.0, but I could talk to a person. I mean, you have to get good grades. They do have a requirement, but they'd rather hire someone who can hold a conversation rather than have 4.0 and have book smart, but they can't send you to a client alone because they're scared you're gonna just not be able to, you're the image of the firm. So if they can't trust that, it's very difficult for them to send you out
how you represent them.
Absolutely, yeah. That's super
So
key.
you were saying when you were in college, you joined some kind of clubs.
Yeah.
Someone is in accounting and they're taking classes right now. They don't know how to get the inside scoop. Who's hiring? What is the best firm to go and apply for? Where can they go?
Yeah, so I would definitely say join. If you go to Sac State, join Beta Alpha Psi maybe for one semester, and the Accounting Society for the other semester. And pretty much any degree, I would say, any career, I would say utilize your career center, I think is what it's still called. So the career center, the place that your university pays money for and separates funds just specifically for people to research how they can help students get jobs after school or after college. I would go there and I would ask them, hey.
Network with them.
Yeah, network with them. Say, hey, I want to be an accountant, or hey, I'm graduating in a year and a half. Or is there any programs? Is there any applications? Can I intern? Try to be an intern. Get a job as an intern anywhere in your field. And surprisingly, a lot of people don't know this, but in Sac State, they have like a hidden, not necessarily hidden, but an undercover type of website where they post jobs. And you won't know this until you go to the Career Center, you show interest, and you have to go through a class before you get the code to go in and have access to it.
So hold up, you're saying if you want something, you got to work for it?
I mean, that's pretty much life in a way. But yeah, in school, I mean, the universities, they're enticed by having you have a job right after you get out of high school, get out of college. So if you don't get a job, their grade goes down. Not as many people are going to want to go to that college. So I would say utilize all resources in college. I was surprised that they had these resources and not many people knew about them. They'd be like, oh, where'd you apply? Where'd you get this? I'm like, oh, through this website. Oh, how'd you get there? I'm like, oh, you have to go sit through a class and they'll give you access. There's a bunch of postings all the time.
I mean, dude, I've spoken to people that have never even heard of accounting or auditing. They've heard of bookkeeping, you know.
Oh yeah, see, that's another industry.
Stuff like that. But I guess maybe just because growing up, you don't have any members or friends that are in this industry, so you really don't know. You're imagining like financial world. Oh, it's like for the elites or something.
Right.
There's all these people, business people, but anybody can become an auditor.
Absolutely,
for a firm.
Even a bookkeeper or a tax consultant, tax person. Yeah, anyone can. I mean, we require a degree, of course, and we require the 150 units.
So to work for your firm, do you have to be a CPA? Or can you just have your degree?
Yeah, it's a good question.
What's the benefit?
So in order to get hired, you need a degree and 150 units. So that lets them know that you're pretty much motivated to get a CPA.
Okay.
Because if you don't have the 150, they're not as they're not as motivated to hire you because when are you going to get the other 30 units? When you're working, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's those two, and then so you're a staff. And then while you're a staff, I would recommend studying as much as you can and getting as many exams done as you can, because then you're a senior. So when you're a senior, you're running the jobs, your workload goes up by quite a bit. So you don't have as much time studying because you want to have a life, because you're working and studying, you're not going to have much of a life.
So what, more than 60 hours a week as a senior?
I mean, it depends. It depends. Not necessarily. Kind of depends on the job. There have been times where you stay up late to finish something because there's a deadline. But not always. I wouldn't say always. But then after a senior, in order to become a manager, right? So accountant manager and auditor manager, you must have a CPA license.
Okay.
So if you're not licensed, they will not promote you. You can be working as a senior for 6, 7, 10 years. I've heard stories. You're a senior, you are not a manager. You will never get that title.
Because you don't have a CPA.
Yes, because the firm will not promote you because you're not licensed under the state and you can't sign off on reports.
So it's
very necessary.
It's necessary. It's in your interest.
It is.
To become a CPA so you can move up in the ranks. And
not only that, not only in the public accounting, if you go outside of public accounting, if you don't have a CPA license, for one, you're not as intriguing to recruiters. And for two, your salary is probably about 15 to 20% less if you do not have a CPA license. Even if you do the same job, you're still valued more because you have the certificate.
So you talked about a little bit the opportunities that you have after you gain experience as an auditor. So let's talk a little bit more about that. You said CFO, you said controller, some other stuff. So say you've put in your 10 years as a CPA, as an auditor in a firm. What other doors start opening up to you,
Yeah, that's a good question. So the beauty of public accounting, again, I can't stress this as much.
It's beautiful.
It sucks, but it's beautiful because public accounting is a foundation for any accountant, period. If you are an accountant, you graduate with an accounting degree and you want to be an accountant, a CFO, work in the financial industry, you must, I would highly recommend going and working for a public accounting firm. It's your foundation for your career, period. So after working in public accounting, getting your CPA license, after a few years, becoming a senior. So one, have a LinkedIn. Absolutely, it's a must. Have a LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, there's a lot of recruiters that want to get a commission in order to get you.
Honestly, those recruiters are a little annoying, but
they are annoying. But
they help you out.
That's good, right? If they annoy you and say, "Hey, you sure you don't want to switch from public accounting to private? I have this great job paying a lot more you might like." So I get a lot of those emails and messages from recruiters on LinkedIn. So if you think about it, right, if I don't like my job, I'm not worried that I won't be able to get another one in 3 weeks, right? I have recruiters sending me job applications weekly basis. So as long as you have a LinkedIn, you have the history and your position updated, all the information updated, you just kind of work through public accounting and learn as much as you can, you will, I can almost say, never be unemployed for a very long time.
So why not jump on the next train? Recruiters are offering you jobs. Why is it more beneficial to stick out, put in a couple more years? Because I'm sure if they're offering you another job, they're probably offering you more money.
Absolutely, So for me, at least in my position, and there's a lot, so accounting is very high turnover, right? So people come in, people come out, people come in, people come out. It's very quick, usually 2 years. So I've passed my 4th year already, 4.5 in December. So the beauty of the firm that I work for and my client, I like my clients for one, for two, very flexible. So because I work in public accounting and I'm an auditor, I can manage, if something happens to, let's say my wife gets sick or my son gets sick, I can say, hey, I'm most likely not going to come in. I'm going to work from home. Great. Yeah, sure. No problem. Nobody's over there hovering over me, breathing over my neck, saying, hey, Arthur, when is this going to get done? I'm pretty much my own boss because you get to a certain level, right? You control your clients. You make sure your managers and your partners know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody's gonna be over there over your neck, breathing down your neck because
No
oh my gosh, you didn't
micromanagement.
come in. Yeah, exactly. But they must trust you too. But not only that, I mean, you can do other stuff because it's so flexible.
Yeah.
You can just kind of plan your day accordingly. Yeah, we have a manager that comes in like at 9 or 10 because he likes to work out, work a little bit at home, and then come in and he beats the traffic.
Okay.
But then he leaves at 5 or 6 whenever he can.
Yeah.
So you kind of build your own schedule, which is awesome, and that helps me. That opens doors for me for other opportunities like I MC or hosting different businesses, different paths that I would maybe like to pursue.
So you said MC hosting. What do you?
Yeah.
Little side business? Or?
Yeah. So another great thing about the public accounting job is that you're so flexible. If I leave, let's say, my work at 3 because I have an appointment with a client or a wedding couple, right? Or a couple that's getting married because they want me to host or MC their wedding, I can meet with them at 4:30 and then make up the hours at home.
Okay, that's cool.
Rather, if I work for, let's say, the government, depending on of course, the department, but let's say it's 8 to 5, strict 8 to 5. You have to be there until the 5 o'clock ring bells, and then you leave. I can't necessarily do that.
Okay.
But this, I can kind of juggle both things.
So, someone listening, maybe they're planning to get married.
Hey,
where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, the Kobrya Brother. So and then my last name Kobrya Brother. That's my Instagram page. You can just shoot me a DM, and I'd be totally open to doing that.
Okay.
If I'm not booked already.
Dude, honestly, I've just learned a lot about auditing and CPA and firms and public accounting and all that stuff. There's a lot more than I thought that's to it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you probably have to put in the years in school, study your butt off. But there's people interested. I mean, I've heard of people. My brother, he's trying to become a CPA as well.
That's
He's
right.
been studying like crazy.
Working in the same company as I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you work for?
I work for a CPA for Moss Adams.
Moss Adams,
They're
okay.
local here in Rancho Cordova. Yeah.
One more quick question. I know you have a family,
Yep.
right? What are the benefits like? In a CPA firm, I know everybody's competitive. Everybody's offering things.
Of course.
Are they?
Yeah, no, they're good. I would say they're decent. They're good. We get life insurance up to I think $50,000 that the company pays for, and then through our our benefits companies, the life insurance company, you can add that. So I definitely buy more, but it's very cheap compared to if you go to a private industry. It's like a couple bucks for like a couple $100,000. So
Nice.
it's pretty good. Benefits are good. We have 4 different options. So you can get 2 HSA accounts, and then there's an Aetna, and then I think a Kaiser one. So it just kind of depends on what you want. Dental, vision. I mean, it's not union, right? So it's not free, but depending on...
It's better than nothing, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And the firm is actually really cool because if you get one of the cheaper benefit packages, so like the HSA account, so they will contribute into an HSA account, so a health savings account for you. If it's just you, it's $1,000 a year. If it's you and a spouse or you and a family, it's $2,000 a year. So health savings account, that's money that the company gives to you. It's yours, and it will never go away unless you use it for medical costs or dental bills. So I think that's pretty cool. You can just rack that up until you have a baby or you have a big expense. It's kind of like a savings.
That's cool.
For medical expenses.
I think that's all the questions I have for you, man.
Perfect.
If you guys have any questions, comment below in the video or shoot Mr. Kobrya a DM. I'm sure he'll be happy to answer, and so will we. Thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for sharing your insight. I bet you, I appreciate it. Other people are going to appreciate it.
This helps folks and actually, gets out there.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, share. We'll see you guys next time.